Chevalier family.
Good afternoon, Kathy.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Juan.
Good afternoon.
Good to
How are
see
you? Yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. So we begin now. And so good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon to you from the Philippines.
Good afternoon.
A warm welcome to you from COVID information team in Manila. Wonderful to see you all, always. We look forward to seeing you always. Our presenter for the webinar is Sister Sophy Francis, MSc, and Sister is from India. A missionary in the Philippines since 2011. And on COVID formation team since 2016. Sister Sophie has been a leader and formator among her sisters. She has had significant experiences in accompanying religious women, men, and laity on spiritual direction and counseling. With all the wonderful experiences and gifts Sophie holds, she has now will lead us in her presentation, and it's on life for, with, and among others. And that is community living. So I warmly welcome you, dear Sophie. Now it's yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy, for your introduction. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you for this presentation. I will try to speak slowly with my Indian accent. I hope you can able to understand, and I will try to communicate the best I can. So let me see whether we can see. I will just try to share the screen. Can you see?
Yes, Sophie. Yes, Sophie, we can see it.
Can you see? Okay, thank you. So let us start with a prayer. Before we starting the prayer, let us gather our thoughts, ourselves in the presence of God. We are sitting in our own places, different parts of the world. And let us listen to our heart, what our heart is. I invite you to pray with me in the silence of your heart. Gift of grace. Together we are Christ's body. Each of us is a different part of it. Together we represent Christ in the world. And doing this, each of us has a particular part to play. It is by God's grace that we are members of this body. It is God's grace that calls and equips us in our particular ministry. We thank you, God, for your grace at work among us. We recognize and accept each other as your gift. We know that you, God, speak to us through experiences, insights, enthusiasm, questions, faith through our ministry. We look forward to the flame you will spark among us and what we will become because you have brought us together. We thank you, God, for all the influence that has brought us together to this moment. We pray that you will remind us continually the commitment that we make to each other day by day. We ask you, God, to help us to encourage, stimulate, to compliment, challenge, and support the other. Draw us together by the gifts of service and mission that you have planted in us. Deliver us from the temptation of taking each other for granted or minimizing any person's contribution to the goal of our mission. Keep before us this vision of wholeness which you have given us in your Son, and make us the people desire us to be. Amen. As we all know, the topic for us is today, as Kathy said, life for, with, and among others, or the community life. And we have some lay members, so I also include as a family. The objective of this session is acquire a language to describe what is happening to a group, a community. Develop a good working and healthy relationship with and among others. Know the challenges in building community. Build a community of love. I just wanted to see the screen because it is, let me see. Okay. I start with the quotation from Martin Buber, an Austrian-born philosopher. I believe that the key to creating society that is nourishing, empowering, and healing for everyone lies in how we relate to one another. Life is all about relationship. We human beings, or we are called to live in, not to live in isolation or separation. We are called to live in relationship, either in community or in family or in our society or in our own ministry. Life is all about connection, all about relationship. And this relationship begins even at the very conception in our mother's womb. And it continues with our family, with our neighborhood, with our society at large, and in our communities. Belonging or connection is one of the basic needs of human person. We know we are in a difficult situation. This pandemic COVID-19 left the world a sense of loneliness. Very many people talk today the need to get in connection with others. People feel the need to go back to their families, their own home. All desire the nearness of their beloved ones. In short, we need the other. Today we focus on the community or family life because we are part and parcel of our communities, our families. So my dear friends, the challenge for us is today, how do we define community or family? What is the community life in the 21st century? Especially during this time of pandemic, we hear about social distancing, self-isolation, self-quarantine. All these are the challenges set before us. Again, Buber says, human development occurs in the relational context. We know our growth and development happens in our families, in the atmosphere of love and care. It is the first school of our life. It is the first community. We need love and care from others to survive through infancy and beyond. We sharing the struggles and problems of the other, participating the growth of the other. In the family, we live for the other, forgetting oneself, integrating the goodness of the other, and we make a family a place of unity, love, care, and concern. And I'm sure these principles can also be applied in our own community life. An absence of all these relational needs almost always leads to physical injury. How can I build up a healthy relationship in our families, in our communities, in our working places, in our offices? We all desire more fulfilling relationship. We don't want to be in a conflict situations. We all yearn for companionship, acceptance, respect, harmony, and working together. On the other hand, we also see and hear about loneliness, isolation, individualism, independence, and excessive privacy. As we said, life is all relationship, all about relationships, and the persons are involved in relationship. There are three words here: intrapersonal, interpersonal, metapersonal. But it's a little bit complicated words, but it is very simple. I will explain what is this, what does it mean, intrapersonal. It's very simple. How do I relate to myself and the God within? That's the relationship with oneself. How do I relate to myself and the God within? We are made and created in the image and likeness of God. What is my relationship with myself and the God within? Awareness of myself, understanding of myself. It all includes my limitations, my weaknesses, as well as the goodness or giftedness of mine. In a way, it is knowing my sacred story, my history, and comes understanding myself. Once I know myself and I am aware of myself, I begin to understand myself. The question comes, why do I do what I do? What is the reason behind the way I react, the way I act? Maybe it will help me to discover certain of my behavioral patterns in my communities. When I accept myself, I begin to appreciate, a confidence in me, I grow in confidence, and it brings a sense of self-esteem, self-worth. I feel I am needed, I am important, I can make difference in the life of the other, or in the life of the family, or in the life of the community. And from it flows an experience of being deeply and personally loved by God. So awareness of myself, understanding myself helps me to experience of God, and I am being deeply and personally loved by God. It flows a contemplative heart. Being deeply and personally loved by God, I get a lot of energy, positive energy. When I am positive about myself, I bring this positive energy in my relationship too. I develop a contemplative heart. I develop a contemplative heart and interior life, and I grow in holiness and experience the healing power of Jesus. And this interior life helped me to challenge to live a vocation as holy women and men. So from this flow, this is that called, in summary, the intrapersonal. I relate myself, how do I relate to myself and the God within. And from it flows this interpersonal. What is this interpersonal? How do I relate to the other and the God in them? First, with starting with myself, then I start with the other. The same pattern, the same process, awareness of the others, understanding of the others. So listening to the stories in a non-judgmental, with empathy and with compassion. And people should feel, I care for you, I am there for you. And from there comes the acceptance of the other, appreciation of the other, confidence in the other. From there it grows affirmation and validation of the others. In summary, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Then from it grows an affective intimacy, a listening heart, a feeling heart, a sharing heart. That is interpersonal. What does it mean, metapersonal? It is in sequence, intrapersonal, interpersonal, and metapersonal. It says, how do I relate to the society or societal structures and the institutions and the God through them. How do I discover God in my communities or in my families? That's again awareness of my community or my family and its structures, an understanding of these structures, acceptance of these structures, appreciating, and all these structures are good for my being, for our growth. And I become an active agent in the transformation of a society. I am responsible for building a Christian community, community of love and community of justice. By loving, by forgiving, be forgiven, we become a contributing factor to the community. If I am holy, my community also be holy. If I am not, it affects my community because I am part of the whole. I am part of the system. What affects me, it affects the community. What affects the community, it affects me. We all are interrelated. So after listening for maybe 20 or 25 minutes, I know we all are living communities. We have different experiences in community life. I would like to invite you for 5 minutes, a personal reflection, just what I have or what we have heard. And afterwards, you go to your break rooms for 10 minutes sharing. The questions for your reflection is, have you ever been a part of a community that was fun, recreative, and energizing? What are the contributing factors which made the community fun, recreative, and energizing? Can you identify a community experience that was draining, de-energizing, and stagnant? What are the factors that contributed an experience draining, de-energizing, and stagnant? So I just give some time for your personal reflection, and Father Ben will put us in the break groups.
Big group again.
Okay, hope all are back to your the big group. Thanks for coming back. So I hope you had a good sharing in your own little groups or break rooms or whatever.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
Thank
very
you.
good. So anybody would like to, one or two, can just to share whatever you shared in your group. Is it possible? It's good to hear what was the life was energizing or recreative or like a stagnant or de-energizing, whatever. Maybe if you could share, if you're who is the brave people to share.
I'll be sharing.
Yes, please.
In my experience as a priest, you know, there are communities that are really very good, no? Sorry for the term. There is also some communities that, well, is stagnant. And what's this? Factors is that if you are not accepted, and they will not recognize you as one of the members. So for me, that's the what's this one of the reasons, and competition sometimes, you know. No. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you.
Mm.
Yes, that's very true.
Mm. Maybe I will share.
Yes, Leela.
There were 4 of us in our group, but
Mhm.
there were only 3 shared,
Mhm.
and the other one he did not know what was the sharing about because it was his first time to enter.
Okay.
So only two shared, and two Indonesians, one Filipina. We tried to understand each other. The first question was, what was energizing or fun in the community? He mentioned about having meals, eating together and having fun during meal times. And for me, because I also come from a community of lay missionaries, what energized me that time was doing the mission, the vision of being missionaries, organizing communities. But later, the concept of a God, the winnowing fan, separating people, you're bad, you're good. So the lack of spirituality of the heart, because this became very clear to me when I started to join dosha, especially Corvite, the focus on the heart, the understanding heart, something like that. Because my community before, when you make mistake, go out, no more room for, maybe we can do this better if like that. So the concept of punishing God is not so good. And yeah, that one. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's true. What connects us is our spirituality, and we will continue to talk about later. So I'll continue my topic. So from your group sharing also, you experience like every community experience has the potential to be life-giving or life-draining. I'm sure your experience, you shared that. The outcome depends on how well the members understand the group dynamics that occurs in any community. Maybe we need to ask ourselves, do we look at life, people, family, community as problems to be solved or mysteries to be embraced? The great saint Aloysius Gonzaga said, "My greatest penance is community life." Yes, sometimes community life can be a penance, no? Community means communion of heart and spirit. It is a network of relationship. It is not about physical presence, living together as a group of people under the same roof. It is about communion of hearts. For example, we can be physically present, but at the same time, we can also be distanced from each other. It is not an artificial, mechanical, or computer-like entity. It is not even a microwave, you switch it on and off. It is a demanding reality. We all are called to contribute the building life of community. The communion of hearts calls us to build a community of love. In communion with our broken and wounded world. We know we are wounded, we are broken, we have our own baggage to carry, and it might come from our childhood experiences, and we carry all these things to our own families or our own communities or our own ministry, and we act and react. In communities, this relationship does not occur instantly or easily. It evolves. It is a gradual process. Activity has to be created, and every member has to make an effort, a sincere effort to make a loving community. It must be developed, cherished, fostered, and constantly nurtured like a plant. the plant need to be, in order to grow, it's not just putting in the soil is not enough. We need to take care of it. We need to water. We need to provide enough manure for the plant to be grown. The same with community life too. It should be nurtured. We need to promote a spirituality of communion.
Sophie, are you
Yes.
sharing your screen?
Pardon?
Are you sharing your screen?
Yes.
I think you forgot to share your screen.
But when I cannot get anything in my I cannot see all that icons are gone from my screen. I do not know. That's why I thought I was.
Yes, I can see you.
Can you see my screen?
No,
Yes.
no, we can't see the
No.
screen. We can only see you.
Just see only you, not screen,
Yes.
not sharing.
Full face, and
But-
looking at that, it's wonderful.
But I don't know how, because I cannot, I don't have in my computer all these icons, whether share screen or something. Nothing is there in my computer. I don't know what happened.
You had it.
The Zoom is
What happened,
not.
Sophie? Sophie, what
Pardon?
happened was you stopped sharing.
But I
No, but
cannot find, I cannot see that one, that stop. Nothing is in my computer that
Okay,
I cannot see the Zoom.
okay,
Oh.
just go ahead.
You see the whole, yeah.
Go ahead.
Can I?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you see now?
No.
No.
But then what happened?
We see
I
you now.
can't see you.
We see
I
your
can't.
face.
No,
Just go ahead. Just go ahead.
Wait, let me see. I cannot see anything here.
I can see you.
But my question
Join
is
see you also.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So we are talking about the spirituality of communion. Yeah, okay. In religious communities are based on spiritual bonding. We are not a natural families. We are created on the basis of kingdom values. Can you please unmute? Okay. A relationship that is created not because of the blood relationship, but because of the spiritual bonding that we have with one another. This spiritual communion indicates hearts on contemplation of the mystery of the Trinity dwelling in us, whose light we must also able to see shining on the face of our brothers and sisters. This indwelling of the Trinity enabled me to think of our brothers and sisters in faith. We are a faith community. And we all are part of me. I am part of the other. In sharing their joys and sufferings, to sense their desires and attend to their needs, to offer them deep and genuine friendship. The communion, the spirituality of the communion means the ability to see what is positive in others, to embrace the goodness of the other, to welcome it, to see other as a gift from God, and recognize the goodness of the other, to know how to make room or space for our brothers and sisters, bearing each other's burdens, resisting the selfish temptations which provoke competition, careerism, distress, envy, and jealousy. We have just heard from Father Ben Roquero speaking about the competition. Sometimes our community has become like competing, and it creates a lot of envy, jealousy in among ourselves. I need to accept my own talents, my own giftedness, and I am unique. The same way the other person also unique. Each of us has for our own goodness and talent. Even this envy and jealousy can also be very disastrous and harmful in community life. Even we can destroy one another. As I mentioned, one of my objectives was building a community of love. We use the language in expressing love. But here, I would like to bring your attention the 5 love languages. There's a book written by Dr. Gary Chapman, The 5 Languages. He presents a simple truth in this: relationships grow better when we understand each other and we connect each other, especially those that are living with. These 5 love languages can be applied to all relationships, whether that is within a family, in the marriage, in friends, or in communities. To express the love in a very meaningful way, we know that everyone gives and receives love differently. And this love language shows that others are valued, appreciated, and loved. What makes one person feel loved will not make another person feel loved. We must discover and speak each other's love language. And within a minute, within a short time, we will see what are these 5 love languages. Use of these love languages in our communities or in our families, in our relationship, will help us to love better and grow closer to each other. What are these 5 languages? These are words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, physical touch. I feel very sorry that you cannot see my slides on the big screen. However, words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, physical touch. Now let us go one by one. First one is words of affirmation. Psychologist William James said, one of the deepest human need is to be appreciated. We all need to be appreciated, whether we are small or big, need to be valued. Someone whose primary love language is words of affirmation, shown through positive, encouraging, and affirming words and compliments. These expressions make them feel understood and appreciated. They're often sensitive and aware of their surrounding and who knows what to say to make other person feel better. We all know words are very powerful. Even words can be destructive, can destroy. At the same time, it can also build up relationship. It can also life-giving and constructive. Being genuine with the words of affirmation. It is not kind of verbal flattery or buttering someone to get what you want, but doing something for the well-being of the one you love. Note or avoid harsh words, criticism, and insults. In summary or in essence, say what you mean and mean what you say. I would repeat, say what you mean and mean what you say. Some of the examples of these words of affirmation are, you did great job. I appreciate what you did. Thank you so much. I just want to let you know how proud of you I am. You are special to me. These were in today's gadget world, these words can be sent even voice message or text message or email or greeting cards. We can express our appreciation in different ways and different forms. The second love language is acts of service. You know, that is very simple, expressing love through actions. Doing something for the other person that you know they would like or they would appreciate. Actions that makes the other person's life easier, more enjoyable. The most powerful acts are those that are done spontaneously or without being asked. Acts that supersede expectations. It can be also simple action, just offer a helping hand to clean the house, maybe cooking a delicious meal, or picking up the laundry, or bringing a cup of hot soup, a tea when somebody's sick, maybe cutting the nails of an elderly sisters or brothers or fathers in our own community, empty the waste. There are so many ways we can do these acts of service. We may be doing it, but we may not be aware of that. But maybe hereafter we can be aware of that. All these are acts of service with love. The important question is, what can I do for you? The third love language is receiving gifts. We all know, we all like to receive gifts, and we are very happy when we receive gifts from our loved ones. In giving and receiving, it's not about the gift, but more about the thought that comes from the gift, which communicates emotional love. It is not the size of the gift or the price of the gift, but all about is remembering and thinking of the other. I am thought of, I am remembered. People whose primary love language is receiving gifts, we do not expect a big or expensive gifts. But as I said a while ago, what is behind that, the gift appeals to them, the thoughtfulness of the other. People with this love language remember every little gift they have received from their loved ones because it makes such an impact on them. Remembering special occasion, kind of birthdays or wedding day, ordination day, feast day, these are the opportunities which we can give gifts to others. Above all these material gifts, the greatest gift is the gift of the self. more than this material gift, the gift of the self or the gift of the presence is a beautiful gift we can give to others. In modern world, we are in a hurry. We have no time for the other. We have so many things to do. Physical presence in the time of crisis is the most powerful gift one can give. If the primary love language is receiving gifts. For example, especially in the time of death and grieving, in our own communities, sometimes one of our sisters must have lost their father or mother, the beloved one. And returning from home to our communities, there is a lot of things to share. The person does not need our consolations or words sometimes, just an attentive heart, our physical presence, just to listen the story, to listen the pain. That's the most thing that we can give to a grieving person. The fourth one is the quality time. What is this quality time? Giving someone your undivided attention, focusing on the other. Attentive listening, maintaining eye contact, with empathy and compassion, and affirm what other person is saying. It doesn't mean that we spend together the moments gazing at each other's eyes. It can be also an activity the whole community or individuals are involved that creates the sense of togetherness. It can be the quality of activity. This activity can be also watching a good movie, maybe recreation, gardening. It can be whatever maybe preparing a good meal together in celebration. All things can be also a quality time. Spending time together in a common pursuit communicates that we care about each other, that we enjoy being with each other, that we like to do things together. It can be also loving conversation, sharing the experiences, the thoughts and feelings and desires in a friendly, uninterrupted manner. In conversation, we may not talk about the weather and what's happening outside, but a really heart-to-heart sharing. In conversation, we no need to giving advices or we no need to solve the problem, but a time being spent with the other. Quality of conversation is different from the first love language, the words of affirmation. Words of affirmation focuses on what we are saying, whereas quality conversation focus on what we are hearing. Relationship calls for attentive listening with a view to understanding the other person's thoughts, feelings, and desires. Focus on quality, not quantity. It's not how long we spend, how many hours we spend, but the quality of our time. A caution, a danger, whether it is in family or in communities, if you don't give time for each other, they will look for it in elsewhere. That's very true. If we don't listen to our children, if we don't listen to our husbands and wives, if we don't listen to our community members, they will look for somewhere else. It can be in alcohol, it can be in drug, it can be in addiction, it can be any way, any form. So it is our primary duty, as we care for each other, have time for the other. For example, if a wife comes from the office and share the difficulties, whatever she's being faced in the office, the husband needs to give her time. She does not need any advices or ideas how to solve the problem. She needs to know she's understood. In the same way, parents also need to do the same with their children. In our own community too. Their sister or brother comes from the ministry, the school, the hospital work, and they share their struggles or difficulties or joyful moments. They need someone to listen and to understand them. We all need, after all, someone to listen, and I am understood. There's a slide which but when we listen, what we need to do is we need to switch it off all our gadgets. We can also listen to one another, but we will be also playing with our gadgets. So that takes away the attention from the other. So important thing, switch it off all our gadgets while we are with family members or with our community members. The last, the love language is physical touch. Are we okay? Physical touch is the most direct way to communicate love. It is essential for the health and well-being of every human being. We know in some families are very touching and some are not. Some are very expressive. And even some culture, people are familiar with touch. And we should be aware of the culture and where they come from. Even times of crisis, more than anything, we need to feel loved. We cannot change events, but we can survive if we feel loved. Tender touch will be remembered long after the crisis has passed. People who have this as their primary love language express and receive love through hugging, embracing, placing the arms around the shoulder, sitting close, holding hands, or any other kind of touch that is, I would say the word, appropriate in the moment. We all have wired with the need for physical affection. A pat on the back, a hug affirms that we are loved and that we are worth. I have some questions for your reflection by listening to these 5 love languages, as when like 5 minutes personal reflection, and we just go to the group sharing. So you cannot see the slide, but I will read it for you. Confirm and clarify your primary love language with 3 questions in regards to your relationship among family, community, and friends. How do I most often express love to others? What do I complain about most often? What do I request most often? Has an increased awareness of love languages affected your level of understanding towards the others in your community, family, or working place?
Sophie,
Maybe this.
Sophie,
Yes, Father. Yeah.
can you, those questions, can you write them in the chat box?
But I cannot find anything. Chat also, the whole Zoom I cannot see here. That's my problem. Maybe during the break, maybe we can do something. I cannot see anything.
Okay, okay, go ahead. Can you
Yeah.
repeat those questions?
I will repeat. I am very sorry about that. I will repeat once again. Confirm and clarify your primary love language with 3 questions in regards to your relationship among family, community, or friends. How do I most often express love to others? What do I complain about most often? What do I request most often from the other? Has an increased awareness of love languages affected your level of understanding towards the others in your community, family, or in working place?
Leela has written those questions in the chat box.
Thank you.
People can go there before they go to the breakout for their first reflection and for their breakout sessions. When do we begin, Sophie?
The silent reflection. Can I cannot.
We need to turn our mics off.
I cannot see my questions because the screen is.
We can see you. We can see you, Sophie.
Thank you, because I'm trying to short my screen. I cannot.
Sister,
Okay.
how about if you escape? Can you click escape? At the left part.
Can you see the screen? See the screen?
Oh,
Not yet.
I can see the screen. Yes. Yes.
Now, are you okay?
Yes.
Yes, Sophie.
Yeah, thank you. It's really these technical problems. No? So anyway, I go with our challenges which we face in our community today.
Okay.
That is, one is individualism, materialism, and diversity of groups, which becomes factors of division of international communities or intercultural communities. What is this individualism? Individualism tends to be the major problem facing our community life today. We live a life of our own, being in the same building with others, living independently in the manner of a parasite, benefiting from the advantage of the community. We get everything from the community, but we contribute very little. Sometimes community become a boarding place to be used for my personal and often selfish reasons. My interests are safeguarded at the cost of common policies and principles of life. Maybe good to ask ourselves, am I victim of the individualistic tendencies, or do I show signs of individualism? Another point is materialism or consumerism as a lifestyle. We know today it's a consumeristic society. We need more things, more and more material goods in order to satisfy. Undue depend on material goods or possessions and other excessive baggage, clutter, slow down the feet of the missionary. The needs and wants. We want more. No? We need able to differentiate what is my want and what is my need. Do I need all these things what I have? It is also time to examine ourselves, to live a simple lifestyle with regard to clothing, our eating habits. Can I manage without all these unnecessary extras and live on life greater simplicity? Gandhiji would say, in order to be, we need to limit our wants and address our needs. In order to be happy, we need to limit our wants and address our needs. Another challenge we face today is diversity of groups, which become factors of division. Our society, our world has become more international, intercultural. Belong to congregations with members coming from different nationalities and cultures. Sometimes these communities can be very enriching, a source of unity and also of division and even oppression. Language plays very dominant role in the community. We may show arrogance when dealing and interacting with other one. Do we not even use words like first and third world? What is our attitude when we are presented with some food dishes which are different from ours? Community members may develop growing excuses and justification to live solely without a ministry need or perspective. All these factors can hamper mission and communion. Trinity is a communion of love. The family or the community is a living reflection. Pope Francis said in Amoris Laetitia, our God is in his deepest mystery is not a solitude, but for he has within himself fatherhood, sonship, and the essence of the family, which is love. That love in the divine family is the Holy Spirit. Divided community no longer witness to the Trinitarian communion. Another challenge we face today is use of technology. Interpersonal relationships are challenged by technology. Smartphones, tablets, laptops, and television. We live in community. At the same time, we can be also glued to all these gadgets. Pope Francis said, one's brothers or sisters in the community are a gift to be cherished. May we never look at the screen of our cell phone more than the eyes of our brothers or sisters, or focus more on our software than on the Lord. Mother Teresa of Calcutta says, keep in mind that our community is not composed of those who are already saints, but of those who are trying to become saints. Therefore, let us be extremely patient with each other's faults and failures. Now, as Chevalier family, I'd like to touch upon community life and spirituality of the heart. Spirituality of the heart invites us to form our hearts in the Lord. Community life is, first of all, a quality of the heart. We make the interest of others more important than our own. We grow in our attitude that we are alive not for ourselves, but for one another. The question therefore is not how can we make community, but how can we develop and nurture giving hearts? It is not making or creating communities, but how can we develop and nurture giving hearts? Living means giving life. In response to the echo of thirst, drinking, being satiated, and being source for others. This encounter creates a relationship so that the relationship between people is a source of rest, strength for our community. Our spirituality calls us to find God in what is human. We find God in a loving relationship with others. We become more human when we become more cordial, close, warm, and welcoming, willing to listen, blessing, and embracing those on the peripheries. The lilies of the field are destined to transform the earth, making it beautiful and perfuming it. We, the human being, is destined to grow in humanity, sensitivity, and tenderness. The human person achieves this by transmitting with hope the beauty of life. We need to become more and more human in understanding the other who is near me and for me. To make the field blossom, each one of us has to sow seeds of life. To make the dough ferment, each one has to put in a pinch of yeast. As members of the Chevalier family, we do this with a positive germinal activity by cultivating the forces of kindness, care, mercy, justice, and peace. God has shown in us these forces, these energies in the form of seeds that germinate. It is our task and it is our choice to make these seeds blossom. The quote from John F. Kennedy in his inaugural address when he became a president, he asked the nation, ask not what your country can do for you. Rather, ask what you can do for your country. I would say, we each one of us must ask, not what our community can do for us, rather what we can do for our community. The golden rule to live is treat others the way you want them to treat you. Treat others the way you want them to treat you. Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. Today, his birthday, the whole nation, India, celebrates his birthday, October 2nd. So I thought these words are very apt. Be the change you wanted to see in the world. In conclusion, I have an assignment for you. You don't need to bring it to the classroom, but it is for you to live. As we celebrate today the feast of the guardian angels, let us think of or choose one community member in your community, and you be the guardian angel. Probably choose a person who is difficult for you or who is causing problems, cannot get along very well, and try to discover what is his or her love language. And you will see the change in you and in him or in her. This is an assignment I give it to you up for you to take home and to practice it. So my dear brothers and sisters, or my friends, in spite of all these technical problems and difficulties, I was able to share some thoughts about community life, of life with and among others. I'm grateful for your sharing and for your attentive listening. And I am extremely sorry for all the inconvenience caused because all these technical problems, it bound to happen. So I hope at least you were able to get some thoughts or some reflections for you. So I end with our session with this song. That is our ending and concluding song.
Every person is a gift of God. Every person is a gift of God. Every person is a gift of God. A wonderful, marvelous gift. I am a gift. I am a gift. You are a gift. You are a gift. Every person is a gift. A very special gift. A very special gift. Unique in all the world. Unique in all the world. Every person is a gift. Every person is a gift of God. Every person is a gift of God. Every person is a gift of God. A wonderful, marvelous gift. I have a gift. I have a gift. You have a gift. You have a gift. Every person has a gift. A special gift to share. A special gift to share. With everyone we meet. With everyone we meet. Every person has a gift. Every person is a gift of God. Every person is a gift of God.
So thank you very much, my brothers and
Thank you.
sisters. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sophie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Sister
you.
Sophie.
Thank you.
Sophie.
Thank you so much, Sophie.
Very good.
Really wonderful.
Very good.
Very much. God bless.
Everybody.
Very, very
Thank
well. Thank you.
you. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Well done.
Sophie,
Thank
thank
you.
you
Well
for
done.
your inspiring
Bye
presentation.
bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stay well, everyone.
Thank you,
Stay
sister.
well.
Bye. See you next time.
Bye.
Ready for picture. Picture.
See you next month. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Picture taking, picture taking.
Picture taken, please.
Bye-bye.
Your,
See you next month.
put your cameras on. Ready?
Bye.
Your cameras on.
Jane, you're growing here.
Ready? Very good. Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
God bless.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. See you next month. Next one.